Hi everyone! So today I'm going to talk about something sad that happened recently. About a week ago, I found out through Twitter that Utada Hikaru's mother had passed away suddenly, and it was allegedly ruled as a suicide, and that's what they're still saying. And let me first just say that I'm not making this video for views. I don't make money off my videos, so it's nothing like that. It's just something that I need to talk about. Yeah, so I was quite shocked. I happened to be in an airport and looking at Twitter, and that notification came up that said one new tweet, and when I refreshed, it was that tweet on the top. And I just gasped because it was so unexpected, and I didn't believe it at first until I started searching around. Utada Hikaru's mother, her stage name was Fuji Keiko. Her real name was Abe Junko, and her married name is Utada Junko. At the time of her death, she was not married. Teruzane and Junko have been married and divorced several times, and they haven't been married for a while as far as I know. So her body was found in Shinjuku, which is an area in Tokyo, and I just thought that was a strange coincidence because Keiko's first album and one of her singles was Shinjuku no Onna, and Utada Hikaru happened to play that song 2 episodes ago on Kuma Power. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry I haven't done a Kuma Power video. There's not going to be one this month, so I'll just put a link to that episode down there below so you guys can listen to it if you haven't done so already. I'm really sorry for the lack of updates. I've just been really busy, and it looks like I'm going to be super busy for the following month as well. Yeah, so I thought the circumstances seemed very suspicious at first. She wasn't in her own apartment. It was a friend of the family's apartment, I believe, and she allegedly jumped from the 13th floor. And the guy who owned the apartment claimed to be sleeping when that happened, and I just thought that seemed very suspicious that someone would be sleeping when you have a friend over. However, both Teruzane, who is her ex-husband, and Utada Hikaru's dad, in case you didn't know, and Hikaru have made blog posts, and there are English translations available of their posts, and I'm going to link to those as well. And they are both talking about the circumstance that they believe led to Fuji Keiko's suicide. And unfortunately, they have said that it was a long-term mental illness that she suffered from for most of her life, that she was never treated for properly. And that's the main reason why I want to talk about this. Mental illness is something that occurs in my own family, and it's a very scary thing to deal with. From what they described, it seemed like that Keiko or Junko had bipolar and possibly something else. Neither of them actually named the illness in their post, but from what Teruzane explained, it seemed like bipolar, and then from what Utada Hikaru said, it sounded like something a bit different. So I'm not really sure if she had multiple problems or what was going on. I just feel so awful for Hikaru at this time. She's only like 29 or 30, and that's still fairly young to lose your mother, especially to something awful like suicide. And it's just awful that this would happen to her at a time when she's trying to stay out of the public eye, and this is just kind of dragging her back into it unwillingly. Like, I saw the pictures in the video that the paparazzi took of her when she returned home to Japan. She was returning from London apparently, and I just felt so bad for her that she couldn't even get through this time in peace, and she has to be harassed and thrown into the spotlight like that when she's obviously really upset and shaken, and I just feel awful for her. I really cannot imagine what she's feeling right now. So if you saw my post on Tumblr, I asked that if you are a fan of Utada, then please do not pass the photos around of her returning to the airport in Tokyo. It will just, further spread that idea that it's okay to publicize people's personal lives. So, I don't know, I just think it's so sick and disgusting that people try to profit off other people's misfortune and troubling times. So, big thing I want to talk about was mental illness and talking about that. Talking about mental illness here is not as open as I think it should be, but people are definitely working towards talking about it more and being more accepting of it being a real illness. But in Japan, it's still extremely secretive, and I think that's why Junko slash Keiko chose to never get treatment for her illness. If that is actually the case of what happened, and I am choosing to believe Teruzane and Hikaru and what they claimed. My Japanese friend is actually back home right now for a few weeks, and she told me that a lot of the tabloids in Japan right now have these headlines on them saying that Junko killed herself because of Hikaru and Teruzane. I'm not really sure why it is, or why they're claiming it is. It's probably money related or something like that, but that just sounds like one of those stupid things that tabloids make up to sell copies. I really just don't believe that, because they were divorced, and they've been divorced for quite some time, and Hikaru lives in England, so I don't really see how they could have made her kill herself. In Japan, people don't really talk about mental illnesses. Like, it's not acceptable to say, like, I'm depressed or I have anxiety or anything like that. Like, it's only socially acceptable to say, like, I'm fine all the time, and it's not okay to be sad. And it's especially not okay to have a severe mental illness like schizophrenia or bipolar. It's just something people don't talk about, and they're not comfortable talking about, even less so than here in the West. And in general, I just think that's really unfortunate that if Keiko had gotten the proper help, and I'm not saying it's her fault, it is nobody's fault. You can't point a finger and say she's responsible for not getting help, like her family is irresponsible for not getting her help, her doctors, whatever, like society. It's something that everybody needs to be aware of, that mental illness, every mental illness is treatable, and I just wish that Hikaru hadn't lost her mother in such a tragic and sudden way. If you have a mental illness or a problem you're dealing with emotionally that it's just too much to handle, it's really important to tell somebody and talk to somebody. And all I can do with this video is encourage you to do so. It really helps. That's all I really want to talk about for the time being. I think it's safe to say that there's not going to be a Kuma Power Hour episode next month, and probably not going to end up getting the In the Flesh tour available now, because I really doubt it's on Teruzane's priority list anymore. The next videos coming up are going to be a big haul, so there's some good news. I am back from New York City. However, I left my camera behind in the hotel somehow. I don't know how. I checked the room like 3 times before I left, but it must have like gotten tangled up in something and I didn't notice it, but the hotel has found it, and so I'm gonna wait until it comes back so I don't have to use this quality camera anymore. And then the review I promised before will be coming up after that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please be respectful to Utada Hikaru's time of grief, and don't pass around the pictures of her crying. I mean, you can if you want, but I just think it's really disrespectful. Also, I wouldn't mind starting a discussion in the comments about what you think about Fuji Keiko's life and what happened leading up to her death, and we can talk about mental illnesses, and anything you want to talk about, you can private message me or whatever. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon in the next video. Bye!